Exposed, a heartwarming tale of a widow who found life-changing love when she least expected it. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow across Sarah Monroe's weathered barn. Barely 3 years since she lost her husband to the cruel grip of cancer, Sarah was tired. Tired of waking up before dawn, tired of the relentless worry over mounting bills, and tired of drowning in a loneliness that wrapped around her like an old, heavy quilt. Every day was a battle on the family farm, and between late-night shifts at the local diner, she felt like she was slowly sinking. With 2 children to nurture, the weight on her shoulders felt like 1,000 pounds, yet, despite her daily struggles, the small town around her offered a flicker of warmth. Friendly faces greeted her, neighbors shared meals, and laughter bubbled up during short chats around the fence. Still, the laughter never quite reached her heart, leaving her feeling like a ghost walking among the living. And then he arrived. Jack Thompson slipped into town quietly, like a whisper carried on a gentle breeze. A retired military pilot, he moved into the charming, albeit weathered, house just down the street. With a warm smile and a demeanor that spoke volumes of kindness, Jack stood as a polar opposite to the storm raging inside of Sarah. When they first met, he didn't just offer his help with her stubborn, broken-down tractor. He offered understanding. "Can I take a look?" he asked, his voice like a soothing balm. That simple question unlocked something within her. Their laughter rang out as they worked side by side, his easy charm easing the tight knot of sadness in her chest. In moments that felt like magic, she found herself drawn to him. Hope stirred within her, a feeling long buried, mixed with stark fear. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Just as Sarah began to envision a future filled with warmth and laughter, an unexpected storm rolled through the quiet town. Rain lashed against the windows, wind howled like a lost soul, and the crops were devastated overnight. Panic gripped the hearts of many, and whispers of judgment floated heavily through town. Some embraced Jack, others shielded against his presence, fearing his influence on their tight-knit community. Caught between battling her fears of loving again and the harsh realities of life, Sarah grappled with her emotions. Her heart raced, desperate for connection yet afraid of betrayal to the memory of her late husband. As gossip circulated, she felt the community's eyes bearing down on her, the weight of judgment looming like dark storm clouds. Could this tender spark she found with Jack withstand it all? Standing on the precipice of her emotions, facing both the storm outside and the storm brewing in her heart, Sarah felt torn. Lightning flickered, illuminating possibilities, yet she feared the truth of vulnerability would tear her apart. Could she really let love in again, or would the raging winds of doubt blow everything away? Just then, a knock echoed through her home, startling her. As she opened the door, a face she never expected stood before her, a visitor who could change everything. Sarah hesitated, heart pounding, as she turned the doorknob. The door creaked open to reveal a figure she hadn't seen in years, her mother-in-law, Alice, standing there with a look of concern etched across her face. The soft rain drizzled around them, mingling with the thick tension in the air. "Sarah," Alice began, her voice low but steady, "I heard about the storm. I thought you could use a little help." Sarah's breath caught. She hadn't spoken to Alice since the funeral. She felt her insides twist, mixed emotions surged through her from resentment to gratitude. After all the bitterness that had built up, perhaps this was a chance for something new. Hi, Alice," Sarah finally managed, stepping aside to let her mother-in-law in. The familiar scent of lilacs brushed past her, evoking memories of family gatherings that felt so distant now. She let Alice inside, and they stood awkwardly in the entryway, rain tapping on the roof, the weight of unspoken words hanging between them. "I know things have been hard," Alice said and glanced around, finding the traces of chaos left by the storm. "I've been worried about you and the kids." Sarah bit her lip. She had shielded her children from many burdens, but the truth was starting to seep out. "I'm managing, really. Just trying to keep things running." "Managing isn't the same as thriving," Alice replied gently, her eyes softening. "It's okay to ask for help, you know. But wasn't that easier said than done?" Doubt gripped at Sarah's resolve. Would she really allow help into her life, especially from someone who had once treated her as a stranger? Just when she was beginning to embrace this surprising spark with Jack, could she risk opening up to Alice as well? I didn't expect you to come, Sarah said, searching for the right words. How could she explain the complicated emotions swirling around Jack and her? I know it's been tough, we've all been hurting, Alice continued, her voice unwavering. But you're not alone, Sarah. You need to allow others in. You deserve to find joy again, and I think you're starting to. Was Alice hinting at Jack? Sarah's heart raced as she thought of the moments they shared, the warmth he brought on cold nights. Could she risk setting aside her fears, her guilt, to embrace something that felt right? I want to, Sarah breathed out, her voice a mere whisper, as if admitting a secret she hadn't yet fully realized herself. Alice stepped closer, her hand reaching out to grasp Sarah's shoulder. Then let us figure this out together. For you, and for the kids. Before Sarah could respond, a sudden crash of thunder shook the ground, startling them both. It was as if the world was conspiring against this moment of connection. The lights flickered and died, plunging the room into darkness. Great, just what we need, Sarah chuckled nervously, trying to dispel the tension. But deep down, she felt the storm within her brewing with a ferocity of its own. They fumbled for candles, and when the first flicker of light illuminated the tiny room, Sarah saw Alice's face softened by the glow. In that moment, something shifted inside Sarah. But would this tentative truce with the past allow her to forge ahead into a future that brimmed with possibilities? Just as she started to believe and hope, her thoughts were interrupted by a confident knock at the door. It was Jack. Sarah's heart leaped at the sound. Would he be her anchor, or another storm to weather? Sarah's heart raced as she moved toward the door. The rain pattered against the windows, but all she could hear was the sound of her own heartbeat echoing in her ears. She hesitated for just a heartbeat longer, uncertain if she was ready to let Jack into this tangled web of emotions that was her life. Alice stood a few steps behind her, watching with an almost motherly concern. You can do this, Sarah. Whatever happens, I'm right here. Taking a deep breath, she opened the door. Jack stood there, his silhouette framed by the dim light from inside. He looked as handsome as she remembered, his dark hair slightly damp, water streaming down his cheeks. His eyes held a warmth that made Sarah feel seen, a flicker of hope igniting. Hey, Jack said, his voice soft yet steady. I wanted to check on you. The weather's gotten pretty rough. Are you okay? Words tangled in Sarah's throat. What was okay anymore? She caught a glimpse of Alice behind her, silently urging her to respond. I'm holding up, she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. Just a little chaotic over here. Jack stepped into the warmth of the candlelight, his presence filling the room with a comforting energy. I can help with that. Just wanted to make sure you didn't need anything. I brought some supplies, plenty of snacks for the kids and maybe some wine for you? The way he mentioned the kids twisted something inside her. Here he was, stepping right into the storm with her, willing to share in the chaos. That sounds nice. Thank you. They moved deeper into the house, Jack setting his bags down on the kitchen counter as little voices drifted in from the living room. The kids were busy playing, their laughter a bright contrast to the storm outside. It filled Sarah's heart with relief and dread all at once. Look, I know this is all heavy, Jack said, sitting at the table, an inviting smile on his face. But I don't want to tiptoe around it. You've been through a lot, and I want you to know that I'm here for you in any way you need. Alice cleared her throat, breaking the moment. I should be better company for you too, she offered, her voice warm. Let me get us all set up with some hot cocoa. As Alice disappeared into the kitchen, Sarah felt the weight of Jack's gaze on her. What is it? She asked, trying to keep her tone light, but her heart raced with vulnerability. I want to ensure you know I didn't just come by to be a distraction, he said. I came because I care. You're not just a widow to me. You're strong, and I've seen the light in you that's still there, waiting to shine. She felt something shift within her, a stirring of emotion she had pushed down for too long. It's complicated, she whispered. I get that. I really do, Jack replied softly. But sometimes, complicated can lead to something beautiful if you let it. Before she could respond, Alice returned, steaming mugs cradled in her hands. She set them down on the table, and for a moment, the three of them sat in a tranquil bubble, separated from the storm raging outside. Let us make a toast, Alice said, her eyes sparkling. To new beginnings, however messy they may be. A rush of warmth filled Sarah's chest. She clinked her mug against Jack's and Alice's, hope shimmering in the air between them. In that moment, she felt the walls slowly crumbling around her heart, but just when she began to believe in this flicker of happiness, thunder roared again outside, shaking the house. Could the past truly stay away and let her find joy? As she glanced at Jack, wondering if he could ever be part of her life, a loud crash interrupted her thoughts from outside, leaving her heart pounding once more. What now? What awaited her on the other side of the door? The thunder rumbled again, a warning that echoed through every corner of the house. Sarah's breath caught in her throat, and she exchanged a quick glance with Alice, who shared a similar mix of concern and curiosity. Jack leaned forward, his brow furrowing slightly. Should we check that out? He asked, his tone suggestive of both caution and courage. Before Sarah could find the words, the door swung open on its own, revealing darkness and sheets of rain. The storm had knocked loose a branch from a nearby tree, crashing into the porch with a fierce thud. As Jack bounded toward the entrance, Sarah felt a flood of anxiety wash over her. The last thing she wanted was for more chaos to invade this fragile moment of connection they had started to build. Stay back, Jack called over his shoulder, stepping outside into the torrential downpour. I'll take care of it. The sight of him standing there, drenched but determined, sent shivers down her spine. Despite the chaos outside, a warmth bloomed inside her. He was here, fighting for them even in the midst of this storm, and it was incredibly touching. Jack! Be careful! Alice shouted, but Sarah could barely hear her over the rain. With practiced care, Jack moved the branch to the side, clearing their entryway. His movements were fluid, but there was a weight to what he was doing, a subtle heroism that struck a chord deep within her. As he returned, his hair plastered to his forehead, he brushed droplets off his face, revealing that charming smile. Not a scratch on the door, he quipped, though his eyes sparkled with genuine concern for her. Thanks, Sarah said, her voice trembling with a mix of adrenaline and something softer. Just then, one of the kids appeared, a small figure peeking around the living room doorway, wide-eyed and innocent. Mom? What was that? Is it scary? The shift in Sarah's heart felt like a sudden plunge, a reminder of how every moment counted for her children. Jack knelt in front of the little one, speaking softly. It's just the storm, kiddo. We got everything under control, right? Sarah watched as Jack's gentleness worked its magic, calming the child's fears. He was naturally a protector, embodying a lightness that made the room feel warmer despite the chilling weather outside. She felt a swell of appreciation, the kind that almost scared her because it hinted at something deeper. Let us get some cocoa, huh? That might help chase away the storm inside, too, Jack suggested, rising back to meet Sarah's gaze, a hint of mischief in his expression. Alice returned with 2 mugs, her smile broad as she heard Jack's suggestion. The best remedy, if you ask me. Besides, we should have a little fun tonight, storm and all. Sarah couldn't help but laugh. The laughter bubbled up, filling the air with a vibrancy she thought she had lost forever. Jack joined in, and the sound enveloped them, a trio against the storm. Each sip of cocoa brought a feeling of warmth, not just from the drink, but from the growing connection surrounding them. Sarah felt as though the walls built around her heart were not just crumbling but being replaced with something new and exciting. She was starting to believe that maybe she could let someone in again, but just as hope began to take root, her phone buzzed on the table, a message from a number she didn't recognize. Panic surged through her. Who could it be? And what did they want from her now? Jack noticed her expression shift and reached for her hand. Hey, you okay? She nodded, but only just. What new storm awaited her behind that screen? The weight of what the message could mean loomed heavily, and for a moment, it felt as if the universe was holding its breath, waiting for her response. Sarah's heart raced as she stared at the glowing screen. The name displayed meant nothing to her, but the dread creeping inside her was palpable. Jack's hand wrapped around hers, warm and steady, and it brought her back for a moment. "Just breathe," he whispered, his voice a reassuring anchor in the storm of her thoughts. Alice leaned closer, curiosity lighting her eyes. "Who is it?" "I don't know," Sarah replied, biting her lip. "I just need a second." After a beat, she hesitated and pressed her thumb to the message. Her mind scrambled with possibilities, each one darker than the last. But as she began to read, the words blurred, and all she could focus on was the quickening beat of her heart in her chest. "Sarah," Jack urged gently, his thumb brushing against her knuckles. "You look like you've seen a ghost." She took a deep breath, tearing her gaze from the screen. "It's just a message. It might be nothing." But the tremor in her voice echoed her uncertainty. "Don't open it if you don't want to," Alice chimed in, sensing Sarah's distress. Yet, her voice carried a curious lilt, hinting that they all wanted to know. Just then, another loud crack of thunder rattled the windows, and Sarah jumped. She needed a distraction, an escape from the pit forming in her stomach. Jack, noticing, squeezed her hand and tried to divert her attention. "How about a round of Guess That Song? I can hum it, and you and Alice can guess." With a faint smile flickering at the corners of her mouth, she offered him a playful glare. "You think your humming can distract me from this?" Jack shrugged playfully, his spirit unbreakable. "Hey, it's worth a shot. Besides, I can guarantee I'm a better hummer than some guy named Phantom." Sarah couldn't help but chuckle, the sound bubbling up despite the tension in her heart. The laughter wrapped around her like a warm blanket, and for that moment, the dark message faded into the background. Alice's eyes sparkled. "All right, let's hear it." The room filled with the sound of Jack's enthusiastic humming, and she allowed herself to play along. They were drawn into a trivial contest of melodies, each guest stoking the fire of camaraderie and comfort, the storm outside forgotten. Yet in the back of her mind, the ominous message loomed, a shadow she couldn't fully escape. After a few rounds, Alice pretended to lose interest, leaning back on the couch, watching them with an amused expression. "Looks like you two have formed a little team against me." Sarah smiled, her heart lightening but still tethered to the mystery on her phone. Just as she was about to dive back into the game, curiosity broke the spell. "I should open it," she finally admitted, her voice low. Jack's expression shifted, a flicker of concern crossing his face. He stepped closer, raising an eyebrow. "Are you sure? It might just be junk mail." But it felt bigger than that. It felt like a risk, the kind she was beginning to understand, one that could either bring her chaos or clarity. "No," she said finally, exhaling slowly. "I need to know." Fingers trembling, she tapped the screen to reveal the message. Alice leaned forward, and Jack held his breath, both waiting to see what would happen next. The words appeared, and Sarah's heart dropped. There it was, an urgent request that sent jolts of fear coursing through her. There was a name involved. Hadn't she thought she'd left that behind? The room seemed to shrink around her, the storm outside paled in comparison to the storm within. Would this message shatter the fragile peace she had found? "What does it say?" Jack asked slowly, an edge of concern lacing his voice. And as she opened her mouth to speak, she felt everything shift. A single thought loomed above the rest: what if this was the key to unlocking a part of her life she'd buried deep? In that split second, a new storm was brewing, and Sarah knew she wouldn't be able to face it alone. The silence that followed felt infinite. Sarah could sense the weight of Jack's gaze, the intensity of Alice's curiosity. The screen beneath her fingertips pulsated with the gravity of the moment, echoing her own racing heart. She opened her mouth to finally break the quiet, but nothing came out at first. "Sarah?" Jack prompted gently, urging her to say something, anything. Taking one last deep breath, she forced herself to read the message aloud. "It says we need to talk. I'm in town. Please, it's important." The last words resonated in the room, sharper than a knife. At that moment, a wave of memories crashed over her. The name was too familiar, too haunting. A figure from her past she had tried so hard to forget. The name that had once filled her heart with warmth was now a chilling reminder of the life she had attempted to rebuild. "Who is it?" Alice asked, her face a mix of concern and an insatiable need to understand. It's Justin, Sarah finally managed, her voice barely above a whisper. The name felt foreign, yet achingly familiar. Jack's grip on her hand tightened, a silent promise that he was there, anchoring her as the storm roared outside. What does he want? He questioned, his tone laced with protectiveness. I don't know, Sarah admitted, her eyes wide with uncertainty. When we parted, I thought it was forever. I thought I was free. Maybe you are, Alice offered softly, attempting to comfort her. Maybe he just wants closure. But Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that closure was just a nice label for unfinished business. What if he's not here to find closure? She replied, her voice tremulous. What if he wants something more? Jack reached out, brushing a lock of hair from her face. You don't have to speak to him. You don't owe him anything. Not now, not ever. Sarah's heart flickered with the flicker of hope, mixed with fear. But what if he's here to disrupt everything, to bring back the darkness? The memories were vivid. A love story turned awry, tangled in heartbreak. Alice leaned closer, her expression earnest. You have a new life now, Sarah. This is your chance to stand strong. You're not that person anymore. As those words settled in, Sarah felt a flicker of strength in her chest. Yes, she had forged a new life, built on love and friendship with Jack. But how could she forget? Would it be worth seeing him? She whispered, the question lingering in the air like the dampness from the rain outside. I can go with you if you want. We can face him together, Jack offered, his eyes burning with determination. Suddenly, a loud peal of thunder reverberated through the house, shaking the walls and the fragile peace in her heart. It reminded her that storms, both outside and within, could change everything in an instant. The message had come after all this time, pulling at the threads she thought she had carefully woven back together. Sonorous knocks echoed from the front door, jolting Sarah to her feet. What if that's him? She gasped, panic dancing in her eyes. Just remember, you're in control, Jack urged, rising beside her. His presence gave her strength, but questions hung thick in the air. Should she open that door? I can do this, she whispered, though uncertainty clung to the edges of her resolve. With trembling hands, she made her way toward the door, her heart pounding louder than the storm. Her future felt uncertain, swirling with past ghosts. What awaited her on the other side? As she reached for the doorknob, a chilling thought struck her. What if this moment changed everything again? Would she face the storm or hide behind the walls she had built? The moment of truth loomed, and Sarah knew her life was about to shift once more. The door creaked slightly as Sarah hesitated, her hand hovering above the doorknob. The thunder continued to rumble, a booming backdrop to her racing heartbeat. Every second felt like an eternity, and she could hear her own breathing, the quick, shallow gasps betraying her calm facade. Sarah. Jack's voice was firm yet soft, grounding her. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. A part of her wanted to bolt, to retreat into the comforting embrace of her home. But another part, the one that had fought so hard for her independence and peace, pushed her forward. The memories were like echoes in her mind, haunting yet familiar. What would she say? How would she react? Taking a deep breath, she clenched her fist around the doorknob. It was now or never. With a swift turn, she pulled the door open. Her breath hitched as her eyes met Justin's. He stood soaked from the rain, the gray clouds framing his silhouette like a storm about to break. His expression was a mix of remorse and urgency, emotions flickering across his features as he met her gaze. Sarah, he began, voice tentative, like he was testing waters too turbulent to cross. She opened her mouth, but words failed her. All those unprocessed feelings flooded back: betrayal, love, anger, and a yearning she thought she had buried deep. Behind her, she could feel Jack's presence, solid and fierce like a wall shielding her from the past. Why are you here? She finally demanded, her voice stronger now, quivering with restraint. His eyes searched hers, deep pools of emotion, but there was something else, an urgency that frightened her. I know I don't have the right to ask for your forgiveness. I just need a moment, a chance to explain. Alice peeked around Sarah, curiosity contrasting with the tension thickening the air.
You have 5 minutes, she said bluntly, establishing boundaries.
Sarah couldn't help but appreciate Alice's instinct to protect, her fierceness like a fresh breeze amidst the storm. Justin nodded, taking a step forward, soaking up Jack's fierce glare.
I'd been thinking about you, about us, what we had.
I didn't realize how much I missed you until I came back.
I need you to know that I'm sorry for everything. Deep inside, Sarah felt a swell of confusion.
Memories of laughter and love mixed uneasily with images of pain and betrayal. She wanted to scream, to slam the door in his face, to forget he ever existed. Yet, there was a flicker of pity. The same boy who had once held her close, who was now a man looking lost in the rain. Jack stepped subtly in front of her, protective and unwavering.
What did you expect to achieve by coming here?
He asked, voice low but unwavering. Justin's eyes darted between them.
I didn't think it would be easy. I just hoped, maybe we could talk it out. I know I have no right, but I can't let the past dictate my future.
For a moment, the air thickened with tension as silence fell. How could he think they could just pick up where they left off?
Did he really believe she would forgive him?
Sarah glanced at Jack, whose expression was a mixture of anger and concern. Their connection felt like an anchor in this turbulent storm, grounding her when everything around began to spin.
Just tell me, is it all about closure for you?
She asked, her voice trembling slightly, clinging to the remnants of her composure. He hesitated, his face etched with regret.
It's about trying to find my way back to you.
I didn't realize how much losing you would cost.
The words hung heavy in the air.
Sarah considered them, flashes of the past colliding with the reality of her present. She was no longer the girl who had loved him. The storm within her surged once more, churning with all that she had fought to overcome, and just as she opened her mouth to respond, lightning flashed across the sky. The power went out, plunging them all into darkness, and Sarah's heart raced as she realized they now stood together, facing her past, with uncertainty shooting through her veins. Would she choose to confront the darkness or allow the shadows of her former life to fade into
the past? This isn't just about you, Justin. This is about me, and the life I've built. Can you accept that?
As her breath caught in her throat, her resolve solidified. But the answer to that question hung suspended in the air, a storm brewing not just outside, but within.
What choices would she make now when the darkness threatened to consume her once again?
The darkness wrapped around them like a thick fog, engulfing Sarah's senses. She could barely make out Justin's outline, the intensity of his presence sharper in the absence of light. Her heart raced. The lack of visibility heightened her awareness, and she could feel Jack's presence looming protectively by her side.
Sarah, Justin said softly, his voice almost swallowed by the rain. Please just let me explain. Just give me a chance to say what I came here for. What could he possibly say that would undo the past? The betrayal? The loneliness?
She gripped the door frame tightly, trying to steady her trembling hands.
You think this is just about words?
She shot back, frustration bubbling inside her.
It's so much more than that. I know.
His voice broke slightly, revealing a rawness that pulled at her heart.
I owned up to my mistakes. I've been working on myself.
I needed you to know that leaving was the worst decision I ever made. There it was, the weight of that decision, declared in the stillness of the night. Those words stung, dragged through the mud of her memory, and it felt like a punch to the gut. The Sarah who used to hang on to his every word felt like a distant echo, a girl who had put away those dreams entirely.
And what now?
She pressed, bitterness creeping into her voice.
You want to waltz back into my life and pretend everything's fine? No.
His voice rose, urgency shooting through the silence. I want to help you understand. I didn't forget. Every single day since I've been gone has been an agony of regret. I thought of you as part of my future. Tears prickled at Sarah's eyes. His confession hung in the air, heavy and full of yearning.
She thought of the nights spent alone, the quiet moments where memories flooded in like unwanted guests.
She had tried to rebuild, to reclaim her peace and to find joy without him. Why did his return feel like both a beacon of hope and a threat? Jack's gentle reminder came through, grounding her once more.
You don't have to do this. You have built a life. You can choose to close this door. She blinked into the darkness, fighting the swell of conflicting emotions. Could she turn her back on Justin and everything he had represented? The love, the heartache, the heart that couldn't quite forget? Is that really your plan? Sarah's voice trembled, uncertainty weaving through her thoughts. To ask me to open up again? To be vulnerable after you shattered my trust? Vulnerability takes courage, Justin replied, softer this time. I recognize that I broke something that was beautiful. I don't expect you to forgive me in an instant, but I owe it to myself and you to at least try. I can't let fear dictate my choices anymore. Silence fell again. The rain thrummed against the house, a relentless reminder of the storm unfolding outside and within her. All this time, she'd built walls so high, even she felt restricted. Can you really understand the risk you're asking me to take? She finally whispered, longing for a hint of reassurance that things might be different now. But he took a breath, quiet determination lacing his words. I promise to prove that risking our hearts is worth the effort. The words sank deep into the pit of her stomach, igniting something at the core of her that she thought had dimmed forever. Hope, fragile yet powerful, flickered within her like the distant light of a lighthouse, beckoning her away from the stormy sea. As she stood there, feeling the heaviness of the moment, she glimpsed the path ahead, one filled with uncertainty, a thrilling chaos of love and pain. She had come so far, yet here at the edge of her past, what would she truly sacrifice to move forward? Just then, thunder rumbled ominously, echoing her inner conflict. Was she brave enough to confront what lay ahead? The air hung thick, charged with electricity, waiting for her answer, a decision that could shift her entire world. I need time, she finally said, heart pounding as she took a shaky step back, feeling the chill of the wind against her skin. But I can't promise anything. And as Sarah retreated into the darkness of her home, leaving Justin in the rain, she knew this was only the beginning of a battle between her heart and her desire to protect what she had built. Would she allow herself to be vulnerable again, or would she choose the safety of her solitude over the possibilities of new love? The warmth of her home enveloped Sarah like a comforting blanket, yet the internal storm raged on. She pressed her back against the wooden door, willing herself to breathe steadily. Every heartbeat echoed in her ears, a muted reminder of what just transpired. Her mind raced, thoughts colliding like water droplets on a window pane. What had she just done? She had walked away from Justin again. He was standing there in the rain, drenched and vulnerable, baring his soul for her to see. But with every truth he shared, walls she built high years ago resurfaced, a fortress that felt impossible to dismantle. Jack remained a steady presence in her heart, a comforting constant. Could she really betray him? Was it fair to even consider opening that door? A flash of lighting illuminated the room, quickly followed by another rumble of thunder. It mirrored the conflict swirling inside her. She crossed the small living room to find solace in the window. The rain cascaded down, blending the outside world into a hazy blur. The storm outside matched the tempest within her. Sarah turned back, her eyes catching a glimpse of the small family photos lining the walls, moments happy and heart-wrenching, memories etched in time. She had built this life after the loss, piecing together joy from the wreckage, and now, Justin was the ghost from her past, whispering memories she wasn't sure she wanted to hear. As the minutes passed, Sarah felt a sense of urgency, a need to find clarity amidst the chaos. The decision loomed heavy in her chest. Was risking everything worth the possibility of pain again? Breaking the silence, she murmured to herself, "You can't live in the past." Her words held a certain power, awakening a flicker of bravery. Driven by a newfound resolve, Sarah grabbed her phone and stepped outside again, braving the rain. The chill bit at her skin, but she pushed forward. She couldn't let uncertainty hold her captive any longer. "Justin!" she called out, searching for his silhouette through the haze. He turned, a mix of surprise and relief washing over his features as he took a step towards her. The moment felt fragile, electric with potential. I need to understand," she continued, her voice shaking slightly. "You deserve to tell me everything." "I'm here," he responded, hope shining through his rain-soaked expression. "You don't have to apologize for taking your time. I want to be honest with you." The weight of his words sloshed around like the rain at their feet, heavy but full of promise. Start from the beginning, she urged, a hint of determination framing her voice. Tell me what happened. Why you left. As Justin began to speak, slowly peeling back the layers of his absence and regret, Sarah felt the walls around her heart tremble. Each word he uttered was a thread weaving into the fabric of her memory, a tapestry of their shared past, both beautiful and painful. Just as she began to let herself process his truths, a chilling wind swept through, rattling the branches overhead. They both paused, a tension building as their eyes locked, both of them sensing the fragile nature of this moment. It was a step towards healing, but also toward risk. What if you hurt me again? She dared to ask, the vulnerability of her question hanging heavy between them. I won tea. I've changed, and I want to prove it to you, he assured, sincerity etched into every syllable. There was something in his gaze, a fervent promise she wanted to believe, yet just past the glimmer of hope, a familiar dread settled in. What if this choice shattered everything again? As the last lightning faded and darkness enveloped them once more, Sarah felt the weight and thrill of possibilities collide. This was not just about reopening a painful chapter, it was about truly embracing every risk that love demanded. The decision stretched before her like an untraveled path. Would she dare to step forward into the unknown, where old wounds could find healing, or would she retreat again into the safety of her solitude? And as she stood there in the rain, emotions swirling violently around her heart, Sarah knew that the answer would change everything. Would she really take the leap? The rain diminished to a gentle drizzle, the storm outside calming as if the universe sensed the turmoil within Sarah's heart. Standing there, drenched yet resolute, she stared into Justin's eyes, searching for authenticity amidst the wreckage of their past. The air felt electric, alive with possibilities. The flicker of hope danced within her, battling the shadows of doubt. Tell me, she urged again, tightening the knot of determination inside. Why did you leave? He inhaled deeply, the rain plastering his hair to his forehead as he began to speak. When I left, I thought it was the right choice. I was struggling, feeling lost, and I thought I was freeing you from my chaos. But I've carried that regret every day since. Seeing you smiling, moving on without me, it hurt. I realized I ran away from the one good thing I had. His honesty sliced through her walls, layer by layer. Memories of them together flashed like old film reels, those laughter-filled moments, the softness of love, marred only by the sudden sting of abandonment. You broke my heart, she whispered, emotion swelling in her chest. I know, he replied, his voice thick with remorse. What I did was wrong. I wanted to justify it in my head, but there's no excuse. I ran from love because I was scared. I came back to say I'm truly sorry, to show you I'm different now. A heartbreaking quiet hung between them, the rain whispering encouragement. You had a chance, she pressed, her voice trembling but her gaze unwavering. And now I have built something new. You can't just stroll back in. I don't expect forgiveness, he insisted, stepping closer. But I won't give up on us without a fight. I need you to know that. And in the depths of her soul, Sarah felt a tremor of recognition. She had fought so hard to create a life filled with joy and laughter for her kids. She had carved a space where love could thrive again, especially with Jack, the man who stood by her through thick and thin. Just then, the night sky shifted, a faint light breaking through the clouds, illuminating the path ahead. In that moment, Sarah understood that love was not only about forgetting the past but also about learning from it. Sometimes love means being brave enough to face the storms, even when they're terrifying, she murmured, her breath catching. The past would always be a part of her, woven into her story, but it didn't have to dictate her future. The pounding of footsteps rushed to her side. Jack emerged from the shadow of the door, his eyes scanning the situation. Sarah, he started, concern weaving into his voice. Jack, wait, she interrupted, her heart racing as she flicked her gaze back to Justin. I'm figuring this out, I need to see if there's still something here I need to address. The resolve in her voice caught both men off guard. Jack, sensing the shift, nodded, but his gaze held anxiety. Just remember your worth, Sarah. You don't owe anyone anything. With those words of strength swirling in the air, she turned back to Justin. I need to know you understand the pain you caused me. I need to know that your ghosts won't haunt us anymore. Yes, he said. I want to heal. Not just me, but us too.
Rising up from the depths of her heart, determination surged within her. Here she was, standing between the man who had shattered her heart and the man who had helped her rebuild.
You have to know, I can't just let the past walk back into my life without a fight. I'm not the same woman you left behind.
I don't want to go back, he insisted.
I want to move forward, to rebuild a bridge, not to walk over it.
The curtain of emotion pulling tightly around Sarah unfurled slightly.
Maybe there was still room within her heart for both understanding and healing.
Taking a deep breath, she stepped closer to Justin, their shared history flickering in the rain-soaked night.
I won't promise anything, but I can promise to hear you out.
Lightning crackled in the distance, its energy illuminating the flickers of change taking place. As she turned to look back at Jack, he stepped forward with an expression of understanding and protection in his gaze that told her he would support her no matter what she chose. A moment passed, their hearts synchronized in anticipation, and Sarah knew this was just the beginning. A chance to confront the darkness of her past while holding on to the light of fresh hope. Let us figure this out together, she said firmly, feeling the unity gradually righting her universe. And as the storm slowly receded, the future unfolded like a promise before her, one that held room for growth, love, and new beginnings. Perhaps love wasn't meant to conquer all, but rather to evolve, to heal, to thrive amid the storms life threw their way. Together, she whispered, feeling the warmth of her new life wrap around her like a welcoming embrace.
And in that simple moment, Sarah knew she had the strength to weather any storm. Now, this is your call to action. You need to subscribe right now. Only true fans understand how important your support is to keep these stories coming. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more hearts just like yours. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this incredible transformation. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this journey. Your support makes all the difference.